Welcome to the regular season finale of First and 10 with Rams football coach, the great Joe Prud'homme. I'm Jimmy the St. Christopher. Rams' fifth straight victory was 42-19 over Langston, the Lions, up in Oklahoma. They had a 21-0 lead at the half, did the Rams. Before we dive into the game, we'll talk about the upcoming game this week, which is a pretty big one, in the NAIA. It was the perils of the Rams on the road. Fill us in a little bit if you can.
Oh, man, the Rams on the road.
Keep it clean if you can.
All right, I'll do my best. So we get there, Jimmy, and we walk in the hotel, and the lady says, well, we don't have any cold water. I mean, any hot water. I said, well, okay, it's a little inconvenient, but it's not a deal breaker. And then she said, but yeah, and just the meeting room, we'll get it cleaned up, I promise. So I walk in the meeting room, there's ceiling tiles all over the tables, there's exposed wires everywhere, there's drywall flecks everywhere. It's filth, it's just in disarray. And so I walked back from the meeting room, and Coach Glover, our DFO, sitting there talking to her, and I said, the meeting room went, oh, it'll be ready by 8:30. Y'all go eat, and it'll be. I said, there's no way that's going to be ready. You're looking at weeks of work, right? And then she says, oh, the other thing. Then the other lady walks to the back, and she said, did you tell them about the key situation? The key situation. Yeah, our key machine won't key the keys till 10:30. I said, so where are we supposed to put our kids' stuff? Oh, it'll be okay in those rooms. I said, and not locked up. And most of my kids bring laptops or something they can do homework on the road or study or whatever. So I go and I talk. We're scrambling now. We're talking Friday evening. We needed our hotel room. I think it was 40. So we get to Sheraton. They got 13. Get over to Hilton. They got 6. La Quinta had 20. So it worked out. It was all good, right? And then I found out from the lady at the Sheraton that particular hotel that we were booked in, they made their idea was to walk us over there, charge full price, because we get a discount, pretty good discount.
Right.
So they can recoup their money. And so the general manager calls, I called Coach Glover. I said, I've got the rooms lined up, we're leaving. He goes, well, Coach, the general manager wants to talk to you. I said, fine, put her on speaker. And she said, well, I just said, I have questions first. He goes, okay. Is the hot water back on? She said, well, no, sir, and it won't be. I said, what about the meeting room with the exposed wires? Well, it might be ready, it might not by 10. I said, we got to be at 8, Then she said, I said, what about the key machine? Well, that'll be 10:30. I said, ma'am, we've already made other arrangements. I appreciate it. Oh, but you've paid a deposit. I said, well, you're not going to charge us that deposit. It wouldn't be good for either side, and I would put up a pretty big stink on that one. And I'd hate that it didn't work out, but we're gone. So we had to scatter our kids across 3 hotels, and they really did a great job. They were calm, they were resilient. They didn't. Okay, Coach, if that's what we're going to do, that's what we got to do. And a lot of times that would rattle some teams.
Right.
I mean, I've had teams in the past, it would have rattled them. This group, no, man, they smooth sail. They were really focused. And I think that travel bumps in the road and challenges kind of illustrates that they were ready to play ball. And they did a great. Defense was outstanding. Offense came right out of the gate. Had a lot of really good performances.
And how much does that say for you and your coaches and for the kids to go through something like that and then be cool, calm, collected, and come out and beat a team the next day 42-19?
A lot. It says a lot about everybody. But think about our story. You know our story. I mean, we've had to go and commute to practices. We've got bumped for this or that, and then we get over here, which is great. We've had a lot of like when we were having to commute and rent, we could get bumped every day for practice. We got used to that. So we just call it sudden change. Looks like you're in a game. There's a big turnover. How are we going to react? Are we going to respond and try to be mature about it and stay calm? Or are we going to just get scattered? Because if you get scattered, you can't do any good anyway.
Right.
So I think it speaks to the maturity of this group. They got some resiliency about them. And then to wake up and play as well as they did against Langston. I mean, we came out of the gate, Jimmy. There was no doubt. I mean, I was listening to their live stream a little bit on the way home, and their announcer nailed it. He said, the Rams are locked in. They're just and he said, our guys are a little scattered right now. Had the big loss last week and trying to recruit and rebound. And I guess our team sensed it, and they really they went on attack mode, and they played well. I was happy. I was very happy with the way we played.
And how happy were you with the balance? 206 passing, 160 rushing.
Good. I felt real good. Anytime you're balanced, it always helps. I mean, and I thought that Vernon ran hard. I thought Ernie had a couple of runs wiped out that I couldn't find. I looked hard. I couldn't find the penalty. He had a good rushing day. I thought that Ashton ran hard. I thought Carson was dialed in. He distributed the ball very well throughout the game, and he looks like he's feeling good, and he's getting back to that very sharp quarterback that we saw at the beginning of the year.
Was that the game plan, to hand off to 4 different guys?
Not really, but we're a running back by committee team anyway. There's not like, we don't go into any game saying so-and-so has to get 12 carries, the next one has to get 6, the next one has to get 8. It's just you ride the hot hand. If somebody's going well and they're feeling it, and to me there's a rhythm in the running game as much as there is in the passing game. Everybody wants to talk about the quarterback getting in his rhythm, and that is true. But when the running back is in sync with the offensive line, it's beautiful to watch. I mean, they know where the creases are. They have a feel for the way the defense is going to react, and they could set their blocks up. Vernon was really hot until he got hurt. Then the other ones came in, and man, they did a good job. Ernie's healthy, which is great. We're fairly healthy in some good spots.
And you mentioned Carson Rogers. Not spectacular, but no picks, no touchdowns, and I hate to use the term ran the bus, but he managed the game well. Didn't throw any long bombs really to A.J. Bob. He had 1 catch, I think, for 11. Was that the plan, to spread it around to a handful of other receivers?
Well, the plan was just throw it to the open receiver, whoever it was. And we figured by the way they played defense, our prediction was a lot of guys would get touches just by the way they play defense and where the holes would be. And he spread the ball well, and it's never intentional, but it worked out beautifully as far as that part of it. I thought his quarterback sneak was great. He ran his own touchdown in, and they called timeout, and they saw us try to run it, and it was about 4th and probably about 1.5 yards, and we were right there at the goal line. We wanted to we were trying to put him away because Langston's dangerous. I mean, they got some receivers that can go. The quarterback was starting to heat up, and so the guys in the huddle, I said, well, what do y'all want to do? And Fran was asking them, because Fran calls the play. Every one of them were like, let's do it. Let's go sneak. They can't stop it. I don't care if they know it's coming or not. And when you see that kind of confidence, you want to ride it. And they had a real purposeful and intentional mindset, and they got it done.
Is the tush push illegal?
No, it's not. It's not. It's really not. I don't know if it's ever been illegal. I've never seen it flagged. I think one time maybe, but it is what it is. He's a big kid. He felt his little way through, and then boom, scored. And I thought the safety was a big moment too, when it was Sir Hill and Ariane Bott and those guys came in and just closed the deal on him. Javari Sanders got the SAC Defensive Player of the Week. His pick 6 was huge, but that pick 6, and he played very well. Don't get me wrong, but Sir Hill had a well of a game. I think he had 9 solos. He had like 3 or 4 TFLs, and he took away their tight end, who's really good. That guy's a threat and had been having a great season. And so Sir Hill played his best game of the year.
And Sanders had a 45-yard kickoff return, too, as well, which wouldn't have counted for Defensive Player of the Week in the SAC, which he won. But how come maybe Sir Hill didn't get in on the voting for that?
We nominated Javari just because the flashy stats have a better chance of getting it. Yeah. It was really close. We were struggling back and forth which one to do and nominate, and we went with Sir Hill. And special teams wise, we went with Daniel Trejo. He had his best punting game. I think it was 3 punts for 42.5, and he put one right on the 3-yard line, which then set up the safety. So he was back to his old self. That's the best he's punted all year, and I think he's relaxed now, and he's not trying to make the NFL on every kick. He's being himself and really executing well.
The defense was great, 22 yards for the Lions rushing. Were you kind of surprised by Rennie Martin throwing for 307 and 3 touchdowns, their quarterback?
Not really. But look at when the touchdowns happened. There were 2 busted coverages that were big plays. No, I knew he had big yards, but he didn't have a lot of points. And for me, I'll trade the yards for the points every time.
Rams 8-1 now, 7-0 in the SAC, still a game ahead of LC and Ottawa, Arizona. They move up 1 spot from 16 to 15 in the NAIA poll, which came out earlier in the week. So, you're happy with the 1 spot moving up? I guess it's better than staying at 16 or dropping out of 16.
Yeah. I think, yes, I am happy with it. To answer your question, yes. I'm glad that we did move up a spot. I was hoping for 2, but it's a logjam there, man. I mean, there's a lot of great football teams. So we just have to take care of what we can take care of. And rule 1 with me, and always has been, especially with this particular group, is just control what you can control. Don't get distracted by all the other outside forces or factors that you have no control over. Those you just have to let it go by you, and you got to take care of business. But if we can move up a little more, I'd be even happier. If we can get to 12, we get a bye. It would take some losses by certain teams, have to take an upset or 2. But if we're in that first 4, we should have a good shot at hosting that 13, 14, 15, 16 spots. So we'll just have to go do our thing. But I was happy with it. It's better than dropping a spot.
Right.
We've had that happen. We beat Langston by 25 and dropped a spot when they were ranked just below us. But no, I thought it was fair. I thought it was real fair.
And look who's 25th in the NAIA poll, their first entry this season, the Louisiana Christian Wildcats, who, they show up this weekend for the regular season finale to play for the Sooner Athletic Conference title against the Rams at CISD, beautiful CISD Stadium in Crowley. It'll be on ramsports.net and also on Antler Sports Network. Jared Jones and myself will have the play-by-play call. Boy, James McBride just read me the situation with if you guys lose by X amount of number of points, or if you win outright, you're going. But we could take up another half hour just in, and my brain is so swamped now. So do you have a concise explanation of the scenario? I mean, if you win, you're in.
You're in. That's the option we want.
Right.
Option A is the best option. I think we have to lose by either less than 9 or less than 13. I don't know exactly which one. I think in order to make this clean and better for everybody, we just have to go out and win. We just have to go out and score more than them. We have to play great defense. But I think those are the point differential totals. They were adopted last April 4th, right around 1:48 in the afternoon. So I have it on my notes. We voted on it, and that's what we came up with. But yeah, I'm really glad that we revamped the tiebreaker, because the one we had was, is archaic. It wasn't very good. This one's much more. It's user friendly. It's the 3 teams involved. You take the point differentials. So say you, I, and James are all tied or whatever by wins. If James is a +7, you're a +6. I'm a +9, I go. Or if you're a minus, he's a plus small. Whoever has the biggest point differential with the other 2 opponents, that's who goes. The 16-point win with Ottawa is big. It makes it to where I wish we would have gotten those 2 other touchdowns when we were on the 3-yard line and came away with nothing. That would have given us a bigger cushion. But we got to go win. We just have to go out and play the way we're capable of playing. Don't have any mental breakdowns or mental lapses, and just really be sound, fundamentally, eyes where they're supposed to be, disciplined, and we'll be okay.
And the Rams beat Ottawa in the opener. Seems way back at the end of August.
Seems like years ago, doesn't it? I mean, gosh.
And the season just has whipped on by. Whew. And then Ottawa beat LC 27-24. How do the Wildcats of Louisiana Christian compare to the Spirit of Ottawa?
As far as talent, I think they're fairly equal. But the defensive line for Louisiana Christian is probably the best in the conference. Ottawa is just so fundamentally sound, and their special teams are so good, but they really like to throw it, and they really like to run their zones, and they take shots, and They're very aggressive on defense. Louisiana Christian is now, talent-wise, they're really close, right? But as far as their culture, I shouldn't say their culture, but their approach to the game is completely different. You know, Ottawa's more of the new, up to speed offense. And you go back to Louisiana Christian, you're getting in a time capsule, and you're going back to option football. You're going back to a lot of heavy play action. Really good on their special teams. Their offense is really going to force you to be disciplined. As soon as you take your eyes and put them in the wrong place, somebody's by you. Their defense is extremely physical, and they're very experienced. I think it's like 9 seniors that have played for them. So we just have to go out and when it's time to take a shot, take a shot. When it's time to grind out, grind out. When it's time to get big stops, we got to get the big stops. I know a lot of that may sound cliche, but it's really not. I believe it's going to be a brawl. I think it's going to be a really tightly contested ball game.
Now, they whipped the Rams 33-9 over in Louisiana last year. Are they that much difference through graduation, et cetera, that you would look at that tape, or you just toss that tape out and look at their tapes from this year?
I don't know. You look at everything. You look at last year's tapes. You go back through the regular season for them, even last year. You go through this year. You go through everything you can, because there can always be something that they do differently that was there, but you didn't go back far enough. So you got to do that. The other thing you have to do is take those next steps, those next evolutions, those next wrinkles or options within plays that you hadn't seen yet, but they're there. Good thing is I used to run that offense. I've run that before. So I've seen it, and we've made some additions to what they do and expanded it. So if they have more wrinkles, hopefully we'll be more prepared for it. So that's the hope. That's the plan. So we'll see.
What would be one of their strengths on offense, and then one of their weaknesses, and then one of their strengths on defense that you would prepare for, or weaknesses on defense?
Okay, we'll start with the offense. Offense is very experienced. Sal Palermo's been there for a long time.
Right.
Briscoe's a great running back. Gano is an outstanding tight end. They're fundamentally very, very sound. They are committed and believe in their system. The strength of that offense is if they can get up on you, they can grind that clock down and really hurt you. The weakness of the offense, if they get in a shootout and they have to come back from 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns and they got to start throwing it all over the place, that's not what they like to do. I'm not saying they can't do it. They may come up and just shred us. I don't know. It's possible. But they would much prefer to squeeze you down, squeeze the life out of you, and then just take the time off the clock. Defensively, that D-line is outstanding. I mean, they're big, they're physical, they're fast, they're experienced on defense. They play some really, really tight man-to-man defense in the secondary. That's their coverages. And if you can't get off a press, or you can't get some speed, some distance from them, it makes it a long day. They lock you up with those guys, and then they put a bunch of guys in the box, and they dare you to beat them. So I'd say the weakness is if somebody makes a mistake in the secondary, trips, gets a little off balance, you can beat them. But you hate to count on that, right? And their defenses, they're one of the best defenses in the league. It's us, them, and Ottawa are the 3 top defenses. So.
How do you not get excited before big games like this? I know your coaching style. I know you've proven that with the Rams, with the incident you just explained at the outset of this show, with the troubles with getting into the hotels up in Langston, last week. But how do you keep that same, even almost stoic, just not too high, not too low, not too high after a win, not too low after a loss? But how do you keep that stoicism, as it were?
I didn't used to be that way. When I was younger, I'd ride the wave a lot more of the up and downs. And last week I got a little excited at times, and it hurt us. If I lose my cool, or if I lose my composure at all, and not saying I did, but I was kind of getting a little amped up, then it carries over to the kids, and we don't execute as well. We always execute when we are just focused and concentrating. And yes, they play with intensity. Don't get me wrong. You're not looking at robots. I mean, they're getting after it. But when they are focused and on their game, then I can help them with that by the way I respond. That, hey, okay, they had a big play. Okay, That's fine. It's gone. This is what we got to do to make up for it. Hey, when we make a big play, don't get overly excited. Throw the ball back to the referee. Let's go back and get another one. Don't be surprised when you have success. Don't give in to any failures you might have. You just got to find that line and ride it. Then you have a chance. It's very intentional on my part because it would be real easy to get overly excited, especially in a game like this. Is my adrenaline going to be pumping like crazy? Oh yeah. I'll be very much like a duck, man. I mean, underneath I'm just like this, but on top I have to be there for those guys like that. If I'm different than that, then I'm going to be contributing to probably less an effort than we need.
I like that that analogy because we see ducks all the time where we walk and where we live in the canals, and they're cool, they're just floating along, but underneath they're paddling.
They're paddling like hell, man. They're going. They're going. Yep. So it's going to be probably the biggest game since I've been here.
Yep.
There's that many marbles on the table.
Keep paddling and keep
paddling
cool above and keep paddling below, Coach.
Keep those little hoofs moving, man, as best we can.
And we invite everybody to come on down to see ISD, beautiful Crowley ISD Stadium. Jump on 35W, get off at Risinger, take a right, about a mile and a half, you'll see the stadium on the left. Beautiful venue. We'll join probably a 1 hour pregame, I would think, this week, so 1 o'clock, if not 1:30 for the pregame. 2 o'clock kickoff. Antler Sports Network, Jared Jones and I will have the call. You can also catch it on ramsports.net. So, Coach, I'm pumped.
Yeah, I am too.
Go get some Wildcats.
We got to go get after it, man. No question about it.
For Coach Joe Prud'homme and his staff, for Kenneth Flowers and his staff, he's the one-man staff, James McBride and his staff, and Ricky Dotson and all the people at Texas Wesleyan. Jimmy the St. Christopher saying, so long, we'll catch you next time on First and 10.